With you and your wife, you guys are both black, right?
Yep, she is.
Do you guys come from a different background as far as the way you were raised?
Yes.
So
completely.
Explain that to me, and how has that played into your raising up of your kids?
Yeah.
Like, not roles, because I'm gonna get into that, but I'm like, how is it? How is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple for us, and how I see it. She might see it differently, but this is from my perspective because I'm the one talking.
Yes,
today.
that's what I'm talking about.
So I honestly feel like we grew up completely different because, you know, when we met her, when I went to meet her family, they're living on a golf course in San Jose. Like, the most expensive around her is like NFL players, like executives.
Yeah.
You know, you come to us, you know, you're in West Oakland, and then
Hey, what up, everybody? This is Drinkin Gunter, owner of Grapes and Sand Publishing, and we have another episode of Drinking with Dads. This is a show where I give fathers their flowers. Hey, what up, everybody? This is Drinkin Gunter, owner of Grapes and Sand Publishing, and we have another episode of Drinking with Dads, working title, of course. Just so you know the premise of the show, because this is the first season, this is a show where I give fathers their flowers. As you know, a lot of fathers don't get the spotlight on them. It's more about the mothers, which is great because they are the backbone of the household, and we kind of like whatever they say goes for the most part. But we do also do things within the household and outside of the household. We don't just provide and protect. We do other things too, and I want to kind of highlight that when talking to fathers who I think are amazing fathers. And so this is my chance to like give fathers flowers and people that I know have been amazing fathers. And this is one of the most amazing fathers that I know, period. And he happens to be my brother. He has 2 children, and we're gonna get into that in a second. But he when I think of a model of father, other than my own father, my brother is who I think of. And no problem. So we have Jareem Gunter here. And as you can see, we have water in our glasses. This is Drinking with Dads. And on this show, you know, in the past, I've been focused on alcoholic beverages, wine specifically. But I wanted this to be whatever the father wants to drink. And my brother does not drink alcohol at all. Actually, most of the people in my family, in my immediate family, do not drink alcohol at all. And so we have water. I did want to make it feel a little special, so I did have to do my Scotch ice cube in it, as you can see. And he has the cool glass that he gave this to me before I had the kid, Daddy's sippy cup. I'm going to let him drink out of it because he's the guest today.
Yeah, this is my first time, I think, having like such a fancy glass with a ball in it. You know, for water. So
I want to make it special for you.
I'm feeling good.
I want to make it special for you.
Cool.
So, as I was saying, he has 2 children. What are their names?
Josiah and Joel. Josiah is 10 and Joel is 7, probably going on 27.
Yeah, she's wild. And again, you guys know I'm going to know a lot of these answers to this, but this is for you guys, so I'm going to ask certain questions and just enjoy the conversation. My first question is, what was the last gift that you got on Father's Day? And it doesn't have to be this current Father's Day, because I know how it is. It can be previous ones too.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that, and I'm like, man, what was the last gift that I got? It probably, every year, Janice does some type of massage for me.
Okay.
So it's probably a massage just to relax.
Okay.
It's usually like Janice tries to keep the kids away from me that day.
Okay.
Because I just need peace. Like, I'm always on go with the kids, so like, peace is good for me. If I get a day of rest, I'm good.
And Janice is
my wife? Yeah, Janice is my wife. We've been married now, going on 11 years this year.
Wow.
11 years in about 2 weeks. So,
congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, so I think it's literally just been about, I think she tries to look at me and figure out what I need. But it's not like, I don't think it's tangible gifts. She might probably throw some shoes in there or something. But nothing I can really remember except for massages.
Got you.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. Did you always want kids?
Always.
So you always saw yourself as a father?
Yeah, I think that I think we were different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how we thought
we definitely were different.
Yeah. I thought growing up, I was the child at like the family reunions that had all the other little kids with me, and I'm playing with them and taking them places and doing things with them, and the little babies, because I just like little kids. I've always liked that. You know, actually my career has been, you know, how do I support young people? Yeah. So that's all I've been always wanted to do. And yeah, now that I have kids, it's just like, you know, it's the greatest gift that God's given to me other than my wife.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So in the early years when you first had, let's say we're talking about Josiah. Josiah's his firstborn.
Yep.
So
Yep.
when you first had Josiah, in the early years of fatherhood, did you think you had everything together? Like, were you already financially set? Were you mentally ready to do this? Was it exactly everything you imagined, or were there a lot of curveballs and you realized you didn't have anything going?
I think that like we have a cheat sheet. Like ours wasn't fair. Like when I look at other men had to go through like a lot of different things to like be great fathers.
Yeah.
And I think we didn't have the same issues. Like you know you're a new father.
Yeah.
But you're gonna understand it's different than other men. You might even talk to your friends.
And you're talking about dad. Yeah. You're talking about our father.
Yeah, so we had like a cheat sheet, and I tell people all the time is like, you know, some people have like really good dads, some people have like cool dads, but I feel like for us, we had like the greatest dad ever created. Like I feel like he was amazing. Like
of course.
I can't even remember like him doing things wrong. Like everything he did was like uplifting and like growth and like how do we become a better man?
Yeah.
So I think for us, it was easier, you know. And I think the hardest part was trying to explain to my wife, like, I know this, like, I got this.
Yeah,
you know
because it does come a little naturally. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
And so I don't know if it was like challenges. I think that it was more, and also, you know, we were almost grown when we had a little brother.
Yeah, so we got a chance to kind of raise him. From the time I think I was 15 when he came, and I got out of the house exactly. I remember running out of the house when I was 18.
Yep.
So
and I did too.
Yeah,
I was 17 when I left. So, we had a little brother, so we were always doing things for him, and so I think our foundation of like how to raise kids was a little bit. Like a cheat, like a little bit easier.
Yeah, you know? I get you. He was a great benchmark. Dad was one of those people that, you know, no matter, for example, like, and you guys will hear this in our interview. I do interview my father too. One of the things he imparted to us was never to of course we came up in the era where you got whoopings, right?
And we got them things.
We definitely got me and you. We got one of the things though that we were raised up on was. We don't discipline you out of anger. My dad always used to say this. He's like, I would wait for my anger at you to subside, and then I'd get you. And I hated that. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, I hated that because it was like. It's like playing mental chess with him. Like he's trying to break us down mentally, and then he's gonna physically break us down because he's about to whoop us.
You be in the room about to die.
I know.
Oh my gosh, he gonna come, and then he gonna talk to me.
Yeah, because it's always some lesson, and I'm like, I don't want to hear your lesson. You're whooping me.
He tell me like, you know what? You're gonna get 4 spankings today, and you be like, man, what? And then so you're waiting, and he hits you once, and he's like, so I think that next time what you need to
you're like, hurry up and get this over. Just get it over.
I need to talk to you. So I think that was like the hard part. Is like, but it was learning. So even when I'm talking to my son is like, Dad, are you talking to me again? But everything is dialogue.
You have to be. I feel you on that. It's like even though he can't. I mean, he probably doesn't understand a word I'm saying. He's 6 months, but I find myself talking to him because I want him to understand why things are going the way they are, or why we're listening to this, or why this book is going to be important. Like we were reading to him and stuff like that, and I'm playing the right type of music around him because I want him to I want him to understand that part of life. I want him to I'm a creative, so I want my kid, regardless whether he is into math or like more of a connotative or denotative side, I want him to understand that creativity can lie on both sides. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm playing a certain type of music around him, and that's why I'm talking to him a certain type of way. And everything's a lesson, you know, even though you want him to enjoy himself and be a child, you know, it's a lesson. With you and your wife, you guys are both black, right?
Yep, she is.
Do you guys come from a different background as far as the way you were raised?
Yes.
So
completely. Explain
that to me, and how has that played into your raising up of your kids? Like not roles, because I'm gonna get into that, but I'm like, how is it? How is that? Stay tuned. Drinking with Dads will be right back. I've just created a show called Drinking with Dads, and I'm a wine dad, like a regular dad but aged. To pick up your own V-neck, go to the link in my bio or fruitandglassgear.etsy.com. Cheers. Now back to the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple for us and how I see it. She might see it differently, but this is from my perspective because I'm the one talking
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
So I honestly feel like we grew up completely different because you know, when we met her, I went to meet her family. They're living on a golf course in San Jose. Like the most expensive around her is like NFL players, like executives. You know, you come to us, you know, you in West Oakland, and then you go to West Oakland, go to ADAC. So it's not. It wasn't a. It was a different dynamic for like financially how we grew up, right? So our growing up was love. It was like one thing I always remember is like we go out of town on a vacation, right? And they'd be like, where are we going? Oh, we're gonna go to Mount Rushmore because you guys studied that in school this year.
Yeah.
So we're going to take you to Mount Rushmore. It's going to take us 2 weeks to get down there. We like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. But we hitting all this stuff on the way.
Yeah, we stop and then we see monuments, things that we learned in school. So it was a lot more like, for me, it was a lot more like, I won't say more love. It was love differently. It was love in like, let me sit there and talk to you, and dialogue with you, so I can see where your brain is, and see where my brain is, and then also we have to understand their logic. I think hers was a little bit different because it was like, it's not I have to do for you. It's like here's some money, go do it. But the same type of love. Same love. It's just done differently. Right. So I think that was the difference for us. It was like it wasn't here's $20 to get some. It was like, here might be $1.50. How you gonna make that spread? Like, you know.
We always felt the love though. We always knew.
Always.
Like even when we didn't have money a lot of times. Like especially in the early days. My parents have worked very hard and they've gotten to a place where they are comfortable and they're enjoying life. But prior to that, definitely we had some, you know, but we never felt that. No. We never knew we were poor. No. We never knew we didn't have a lot of money because that love was huge in our household.
It was a game.
It was a game. Exactly. Like
the lights out today. Oh, cool. Okay, we
had candles set up and
play a game.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, can the lights go out again tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, he in mind, hopefully not. Like, hopefully we can pay this bill. But we didn't even know until we got older. We like, hey, why was our lights up? Oh, got it.
Do you think, so I say all that to say this, with your wife, do you think that she felt that love too? Even coming in that house, like, you know, where it was just like, here's the money and, you know. I
think she did. I think she definitely felt the love. I think when she was around our family, she also felt a different type of love. It was like, oh, there's two ways. It's not just this the way to love. It's two ways to love. You know what I'm saying? And it's more than that. It's just how people like to engage. Show their love. Right. So I don't think theirs was better or worse. I just think it was a different type of love. That's all it was. And even it's weird because I think about this all the time. Mom gets mad when I say this, but I can say it because she ain't here either. So, one of the things that was crazy, I remember on Christmas, they're like, "Hey, what do you want for Christmas?" Yeah. We give them a full list. Yeah. We get our gifts, and I'd be like, hey, that's stuff I gave you on the list. And she'd be like, well, you gonna like what I give you. And don't let us act like we don't like it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was weird because I was like, why are we not getting what we asked for? But we still appreciate everything we got. Of course, right? We definitely. So my wife came from a place who was like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? Okay, let's go get your Christmas gift. Yeah, right? That's so it was different. Yeah. She would get everything she wanted on her list, she would get. Yeah. Right? So then raising our children, it's the same way. She's like, so what do y'all want? And I'm like, don't ask them what they want. Yeah, we just gonna get them. Boys, they don't have no choice. Yeah. And like even dinner, what do y'all want for dinner? Why are we asking them? Yeah. They gonna eat whatever we decide. Yeah. So I think that's the like we butt heads on those because we see that. It's just a different. There's a middle ground there. Yeah, though, you know what I mean? Like it's not one way is better than the. I mean, of course, we kind of feel like we're the parents, so what we say goes. You don't get no choice. But on the flip side, you do want them to have, I guess, more of a. You want them to make decisions for themselves. You know what I mean? You don't want them to be waiting for somebody to make a decision for them. And so, in order to gain their independence, sometimes I think it's okay to do that. I don't think it's okay when we're like, it's last minute. I know you guys are hungry. You guys are going to eat whatever I bring out. But sometimes, like, you know, we've planned it out. Like, oh, what do you guys feel like eating? I think there's a middle ground. I know you're not. I understand that. I think it's smart. Yeah. But the reason I don't have to do it because my wife does that to them. Yeah, I got you. So you're the balance. It's the yin yang. Yeah, for me. And like, if they want something, they don't come ask Dad. Because Dad is going to say no. Right? They're gonna go that reminds me of, right? That's our parents, right? Oh, for sure. Flipped. For like, sure. We knew for a fact that we could not ask Mom for anything because the answer was no. Yep. And then Dad, if you came at him a certain way, and it was practical, he'd be like, "Yeah, we can take care of that." And you can hear Mom in the kitchen. Yeah, you better not ask me. Yes. and the funny part is, I see Mom a lot in me too. Yeah, like I'm not. Mom's a little aggressive. I ain't aggressive like Mom. You ain't aggressive? Not like that. Oh, okay. I'm more of like the. I talk to my kids a lot, but the thing that I appreciate is that I know for a fact if Joelle's a little young, so she doesn't now, but I know for a fact if Josiah goes with another adult somewhere because he plays basketball.
Yeah.
I know when they come back, they'll be like, man, your son was the most respectful kid around.
Of course. That's how we were raised.
And the way he talks to me, he talks like he's a grown up because it's because we talk so much. He knows how to articulate himself and say like, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. I appreciate you for this. And so he knows how to do that. And I think that's a big deal. Like we have to teach our kids how to like be good people.
Exactly. So let's talk about roles in the household. Are you guys both like the disciplinary and the nurturing, or are you one is more nurturing and one is the disciplinary? Stay tuned. Drinking with Dads will be right back.
I'm the author of the Man Book. The Man Book was created so that every man has a chance to become great. If you look at the stats, men that grew up without a father have a harder chance trying to become great because of their father's choices and their father's choices. The Man Book is here to break that cycle so that every man has that chance.
The Man Book, helping boys become men with something as simple as tying a tie. Also being a father, fashion, how to love. This is a book that you need on your shelf. It will help you and it will help people that you love. Get it by going to dreamteamantioch.org. Cheers. Now back to the show.
She is definitely more nurturing, and I'm definitely more disciplined, right?
Okay.
And it's funny because even in the Bible it talks about the father disciplines, the mom loves, and that's how our household is.
So it's more so you have a pretty traditional household for the most part.
I don't even know if it's called traditional. I just think that's just how things fell into place.
Okay,
right? And I think because I think in her family also she saw less discipline than I saw. Right, I think we saw a lot of discipline.
We did,
and I think that's why our life is structured a certain way.
Yeah,
I think she had less discipline. So, since she had less discipline, she parents the way she was raised.
Of course, as most people do.
And we parent the way we're raised. So I'm like, no, we ain't doing this. And it's funny too because when my kids are around me. They follow directions. They listen. They do what I tell them to. If I'm like, "Hey, we going somewhere?"
Because you set precedents.
If y'all walk in this place and ask for something, we're gonna have a problem, right?
Now you really sound like mama.
Yeah, they walk right behind me. They do exactly what they do exactly what I say.
Yeah.
But the funny part is when it comes to my wife, she's like, these kids don't listen. They get on my nerves. I'm like, well, tell them they can't do it.
It's real
simple. Like, I told them that, but they not listening. It's because
she hasn't set precedents.
Yeah, she set this of like, she gives them, hey, what do you guys want? What do you guys need? So now they feel like I can tell you what I want. What I need. It ain't no telling me. We gonna do it.
We're doing this.
We're gonna walk in a straight line. We're gonna follow directions, and then hopefully he might get us something if we good.
Yeah,
So that's really how it works.
Tell me this, and I know you are a very, very proud father. But tell me one thing that makes you proud of your kids, like both of them. Like, what is one thing? It could be, something about education, something the way their outlook of life, sports, whatever you feel like. What is something that makes you proud of each of your kids?
I think it's easy to use sports, and it's easy to use like their grades. My kids, they get straight A's.
Yeah,
they know better. Right? My kids are, they're both super athletic. But that's not. I think it's more what I'm proud of is I know if you go somewhere outside of my presence, people are proud of you. Yeah. Right.
You represent the household.
You represent the household. I know that also. My daughter's learning that a little bit. She's a wild child, right? And like she's like the child that
Joelle.
Yeah, Joelle is gonna do 16 flips. She's gonna do a backflip. She's gonna do a side flip. She's gonna dance and sing all day long. Yeah. That's what she does, right? But when you get past that, she never wants to get in trouble. So she's always gonna try to show respect. My son is, and he also keep her in check too. Like the one thing I know about him is he never ever wants somebody else to be disappointed in him. So he's going to show himself in a way that
puts the best foot forward. Shows that he's like his highlights, the good stuff. Yeah.
So I that's what I think I'm really, really proud of them about is that they want to be the best children, and they also want to make Dad happy. They want to make me proud of them. So they
we did with Dad.
Yeah. Like to this day, my son. If you ask my son who's his best friend, he'll be like my dad.
That's dope. That's dope.
And that's the same thing I do. It's like my dad's my best friend too. Yeah. And it's not the fact that he's not doing it because he wants us to be closer, but he knows like I'm gonna talk to him every day. We gonna talk about everything. If it's a girl, it's like the other day we were driving to school. And he said, "Dad, I really, really like this girl, and I don't know how to talk to her though. And people told me that you used to love girls. You was really good at it. Right? So
yeah. Oh, they don't know that side of you.
So Dad, can you tell me how to talk to her? And we got like 5 minutes left. I'm about to draw my, and I'm like, Josiah, let's pray first. He's like, Dad, I know, but I really need to talk to her, and I need you to tell me what I'm doing. I don't know what to say to her because he gets really nervous.
Yeah, he has anxiety.
I'm like, stop worrying about liking her.
Yeah.
Like, worry about you be a nice person and a good person, be her friend, and everything else will follow. Don't be the guy that's mad, that's always like, oh, I gotta be mean to her to make her like me.
Yeah.
Just be a
and
good
don't play the game. Don't act like you have to have game in order to get, like, just be yourself. And like, I know it's cliche, but it's like, you're a good person. You're a good kid. Like,
be Josiah. That's what I tell him. But you don't have to have to be like, you don't have to try so hard.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Yeah.
You don't gotta make her laugh. You already funny yourself.
Yeah.
Just be you.
You're naturally funny.
Yep, and you'll be good. So, and he came in there the other day. He was like, Dad, I think she likes me back. I'm like, okay, cool. But don't worry about liking her.
Yeah.
Be a friend. Be a good person. And if something falls later on, it falls later on. But be a good person, you know.
So that's something that makes you proud of him, is that he listens and like.
Yeah, he always wants to make me proud. So if I tell him, if I give him a directive, I know he's gonna work on that and try to do better. I know for sure.
And Joelle, what makes you proud of her?
Joelle is
why are you trying to find the right way to say it?
Because Joelle's something else. What makes me proud of Joelle is that she shows her love outwardly.
She definitely does.
Like, Joelle is gonna be on top.
She's very loving.
She's gonna kiss on you. She's gonna hug you. She don't care who's around.
Yeah.
If Daddy's around, she's gonna be on top of me, cuddling me and kissing me. And I know that. I hope that lasts forever. Like,
yes.
I know that she's gonna always be that girl that's gonna love her daddy. You know what I'm saying? So that's I think with that, yeah.
So tell me a funny situation your kids have put you in. It could be either one of them. What's a funny one that you're like, Lord have mercy, these kids are crazy.
How many times? They always do something. So let me think of something recently.
Yeah. Like it could be like on a flight or something, or like, like an accident, whatever. It could be anything.
I got a terrible story. So Joelle was she's probably Emil's age, right?
Okay.
So there was back in the day, the cops were trying to work with barbershops. They're trying to do this thing called Barbershop Forum.
Okay.
Where cops go into barbershops and have conversations with the community about things that's happening. It was like during all the stuff that was happening. Right? Yeah. So they wanted, we were living in Hayward at this time, and they wanted me to be the person that brought the community together.
Gotcha.
Right. So
the point person. Basically.
Yep. So we went to this really expensive restaurant, and back in the day, I used to stay home with Joelle. So when I go speak and do something like that, she would always be with me. So I had to go meet with. It was a sergeant or lieutenant. The head. I don't know if it's sergeant or lieutenant. Whatever the top one is. I think it's lieutenant. The lieutenant of Oakland. Okay. The sergeant of Alameda County. Okay. We had to meet with and the sergeant of Hayward. Okay. Right, and then it was Channel 2 News, and we're at this restaurant, right? Okay. We're all planning on
So this is like a big deal.
It's a really big deal, right? And I came in, I had, like this pink polo shirt on, and it was like the checker one, so it was like buttoned up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Had my slacks on, and I'm holding my daughter, like, hey, come on, baby, let's go, I was holding her. And my chicken had just came, right? And everybody was eating their food. And like this, and then the sergeant of Hayward is a woman. Yeah. And she goes, "Hey, can I hold your baby?" I'm like, "Oh, for sure." Yeah. So I hand over Joelle to her. She's like, "Oh, she's so cute," talking to her, and I'm like, "Yeah, she's cute." She's like, hands her back, and I'm like, "Oh," so I hand her back, and I'm kissing her, right? And I put her on my chest, and I didn't know she went to the bathroom. And I'm like, man, something smells funny, right? So when I put her up, and I'm like, something smells funny. So I was like, just doing stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, smelling something, like, something smells really funny. And I look up, and she had boo-booed. All through her clothes. And I look down, it's all over my shirt, right? Oh, my goodness. Because I rubbed my face, I had boo-boo all over my face.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? And I'm with the
so you're trying to make it good.
And I'm with all of them, they're looking at me, and I'm like,
excuse me?
I'm actually gonna leave because I couldn't go to the bathroom. Yeah. It's cake, and I'm in a restaurant, nice, all over me, all over my face, and they're like laughing. They're like, "That's Daddy," and I was like, "No, this is not cool." So I just left, got in the car, and I'm calling Mom, and I'm like, "Mom, I got boo boo in my mouth. I don't know what to do." And it was that was my that's Joelle's story. She is just Yeah, she got me good that day.
Yeah, that's a good one though. In front of all these people,
in front of everybody, and it's funny too.
Yeah.
I went to see Hamilton, and I saw the lieutenant of Oakland, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "Oh, you the boo boo dad, huh?" And I was like,
that's what we doing.
My wife, she cracking up. She like, "Oh, okay, I see what's happening." But yeah, like it was funny.
What's one of the toughest situations they've put you in? Stay tuned. Drinking with Dads will be right back. The Dream Team are a manhood development program that plays basketball. Their focus is getting the boys to be better individuals and leaders in the community while making them excellent basketball players. While most AAU programs cost over $5,000 a year, they are free for families and provide uniforms, warm-ups, shoes, and educational learning events. So they need money. To donate or hear more about the program, go to www.dreamteamantioch.org. Cheers. Now back to the show.
The toughest situations.
Where maybe they got in trouble at school or something
What a tough situation. And it would definitely be my son. It wouldn't be Joelle, because Joelle's like sneaky. She does little stuff, but she ain't trying to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So she don't do nothing big. Josiah will do something big.
He sticks to his he has certain code that he lives by, and if it goes against it, if somebody goes against his code, it doesn't even really.
It don't matter if it's me.
Yeah, he gets that. That's my side. That's definitely me.
He cannot be quiet. If it's not right, if something's not fair, he's going.
That was me.
I know. We call him Lil J Con. It's sickening. It drives me crazy. But I'm trying to think of something that he's done that has been really hard. Okay. We were in Vegas, and and this really hurt. It hurt me, but also it made me want to hurt him. So,
he made you mad, huh?
And you'll know the story when I tell you a little bit. So we're in Vegas, and we're with his basketball team. Mm-hmm. They just won a championship.
By the way, his son is really good at basketball.
Yeah, he likes basketball. He could be something in the future.
Yeah, he's gonna be something.
So he's with the basketball team. They had just won the whole tournament, right? So the whole tournament is 2,000 teams. They won first place. We won everything.
Wow.
In Vegas. So all the boys are upstairs. They're in the arcade.
Yeah.
Right? All the parents are downstairs hanging out. We're excited about the win.
Yeah.
Talking. And next thing I know, I see Josiah come downstairs. And the police are escorting him. And it's just me and Josiah. It's not my wife and my daughter didn't come. And I'm like, boy, what's going on? He's just crying, right? And I'm like, oh no, what is going on? So, we end up going up to the arcade, seeing what's going on. And there was a boy that had I don't know if it was Down syndrome, but he had a disability, right? And as you know, our little brother
has Down syndrome.
So I'm already sensitive to the situation.
Me too.
Right? And Josiah had took the kid's phone out of his pocket. Right, because his friend dared him to, because the kid had his phone hanging out. Right,
so he was trying to show off.
So he took it out. And the kid starts losing it, screaming at Josiah. He stole my phone and flipping out. Josiah was giving it back, but he was just playing with the kid. I guess he was playing a basketball game with the kid first, and then he did something. And I'm like, if there's one person I will never have you pick on or play with, is somebody with Down syndrome, because I know how that is. You don't do that.
You don't do that
at all, especially in our family. You don't do that.
That hurts.
Yeah, I made him feel really bad, and I was like, and I made him call his uncle Jim. I was like, I need you to apologize to him and tell him what you did, because we don't do that kind of stuff in our house.
We sure don't.
So that
I know that hit. That hit.
Oh, I was upset, and also because all the other parents are like, Josiah, the kid, the good kid, he's the one doing this, and I'm like, y'all don't know this little stinky boy. He didn't. So yeah, he felt all of death that night. You know what I'm saying? So that was embarrassing. It hurt. Something
that I feel like is very, very important for when you're in a relationship, and you've been in a long-term relationship, even before the kids, but even more so after the kids. You need to have a release. For you, what is that release that is outside of, it's not with your wife, it's not with your kids? What is something that you do that puts a smile on your face that's your own personal release?
So,
because I know you do a lot of stuff in the community, you do a lot of stuff with the kids.
Everything's for everybody else.
Yeah. Because your dad, like a life of service, right?
Yes.
So,
but I will be honest, service brings me joy.
Okay.
Like it brings me joy. Like I know that,
and I get that.
No, I got you though.
Okay.
But I know that that's what brings me joy is serving other people and serving my kids, serving my wife. I know that like that makes me happy. But something that I do on my own. There is something that I do, and I never knew I would do this because Dad does this. I've always liked sports. I've always loved the Warriors, always loved the Giants, always loved the 49ers. But I ain't never loved them as much as I do now that I'm married.
Yeah.
Like I was like, why do I love this so much? Like it is like when basketball season's over, I think my life is over. I don't know what to do. Right. And my wife is like, why is that important? And I'm like, because that's my outlet. Like, and also my kids know when the Warriors are on, don't bother Dad.
Yeah.
She knows if the Warriors are on, Dad's not cooking that night either. Everything's on you. I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna sit in front of TV and watch it. I appreciate that they give me the time though, but that is literally my outlet. Like, if I can just sit there and chill. Yeah. You know, like my wife was like, "Hey, what do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "I
just need a day."
I want a week. I don't want a day. I want a week. I don't want you to complain. Yeah. I don't want the kid. I just want let me chill. Yeah. And let me do whatever I want to do. Right. I got you. I think that because life becomes so overwhelming. Yeah. And we get caught up in like, who can I support today? It's like when you can have a time to just like chill. Yeah. By yourself, decompress. I'm like, let me watch.
It's nothing like it. It's nothing like kind of doing your own thing just for a day. Of course, you can't wait to get back to your kids and but just for, like I have a Fridays or like my time. Like after she gets home, I get a chance to kind of I get my Fridays because I'm stay at home. Yeah. So I'm with him all the time. And it's great. Like I told her, I was like, even if I had all the like, if money was not a problem at all, would anything be different? And I was like, absolutely not. I'd probably still be working from home. I'd still be wanting to work. I still want to be with my kid every single day and keep on raising him the way it is. So like, I understand that, but I do get my Fridays, and normally because there's not anything to do out here in Fremont. I love cigars. I'll go to the cigar place, and I'm supposed to not be working, but my working and stuff I love to do, which is writing. So I'm in there editing and working and writing for like 3 hours by myself. Like there's games going on and stuff. There's other people in there. I got my cigar. I'm in my little corner, and that's heaven to me. I'm having a great time.
I actually don't like hanging out with friends though either.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not talking to anybody. I don't. I mean, they all they know me. I go like this, and I walk to the corner.
The weird thing is like, my wife says like, "Hey, why don't you get your friends?" And I'm like, it doesn't bring me joy. Bringing me joy is like being with my family.
Yeah,
like,
I get it.
What can we do all together?
Yeah.
And I think it's because when you are a full-time committed like father. Yeah. People don't understand that. They're like, man, why can't we kick it? I'm like, man, I need to be and I'm gone too long, and my friends be like, man, do you keep talking about your family? Like, that's what I love.
I've had to catch myself because I'm like, my life. So the thing that our parents did really well was we knew that they had their life and we were just part of their life. Their lives did not revolve around us. Yeah. Like of course we got our extracurricular activities and we had a great time, but our parents were so cool about like letting us know that this is us and that's y'all.
Oh, we do the same thing.
And so like I had to make sure that when I'm around other people, I don't always talk about Emil. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have to have my life outside of him. I have to make sure he sees that too, so he understands what it is. But that leads me into my next question. Do you have a tribe? I know a lot. Like I was talking to Dad about this, and I hear some fathers say, yes, I have a group of guys that whenever anything's going on with the kids or anything, I can go to them and we can have a conversation. Some of them say they're on group chats and stuff like that. Dad actually was different. I want to hear what you have to say.
He didn't have that.
He doesn't have that.
He didn't have that.
That's what he said. He said he doesn't have a tribe at all. He's like, I have people I can call every once in a while, but it's like there's no group chat. There's none of this. Like, no collective.
I think there's two ways about it. I think we have like for my guys at church, my men at church, we're connected. But no, I don't have a tribe, and actually, it's weird. I don't even want one.
Does sound like that? Yeah.
Like I don't want one because I don't need anybody else's
opinions or like voices in your head while you're trying to raise your kid.
Like I said, we have a cheat sheet. Like if I need something, I'm calling my dad.
Of course.
Hey, Dad, what do I do here? What's going on? What do I need? I don't need anything else. Like because I know that we were raised the right way, so I actually don't need other perspectives on like how I was raised because they might not have been raised the way I was raised. Okay. Right. So
I feel that.
But I know that I might be the tribe for somebody else. Like I'm in somebody else's tribe. Like they might need me for stuff. But for me specifically, like I'm good. I need my dad. I need my brother. I don't need all the other stuff. Yeah. Like, I'm good.
So with Dad, we had, I mean, like I said, it was like, it drove us crazy when we were younger, but now that we're older, it's great. that we have all these nuggets of like, you know, and he does make it easier. You feel more like dealing with Emil. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm not uncomfortable. Like I figured having a kid, I was gonna be like, Lord have mercy. But things come so naturally to me because of the benchmark we had as a father. So with that being said, is there anything that dad, like one thing that dad imparted to you before you had a kid that stuck with you and has been kind of one of those things you keep on going back to, like a lesson or anything? It could be a story. It could be.
I mean, there's so many. Like
there's so many with dad.
There really is. I think that. I think there's a whole lot, because I think probably the most important thing he taught us was how to love our wives. Yeah. Like for me, it was like how to love my wife outside of my kids. Yeah. Right. Like, and I think that's really the second person I've heard say something like that this week. Yeah. It's about like, because he has a kid too, and he was talking about how like you need to prioritize your relationship more than anything over that kid. Yep. Me and my wife, we go, you know, we say we're going to take 2 trips a year, one trip for the kids and then one trip for just me and her to get away. We usually end up taking like 5 trips for us and like 1 for the kids, because we know how important that time is together. Like we'll get away. Like it was 2 weeks ago. We were like, hey, let's go to Atlanta. She didn't know. I was like, you surprising. Yeah, you the man with that kind of stuff. Let's go. I love when you do that. I told her, I said, we going to a restaurant. Let's go to a restaurant. She's like, we're in a restaurant. I said, yep. I had all her bags packed. We get up and she's like, why are we at the airport? I was like, oh, it's a restaurant at the airport. She's like, ain't no restaurant at the airport. I'm like, yes, it is. Let's go. So hop on the plane. We there for 5 days just to get away. And it's just like, we need time for us without the kids. Because the kids bring stress. They bring frustration. They bring anger. Like me, I'm like, let's go. Let's go. Kicking me and you. That's dope. I think that's super important. I think that's one thing he taught us. I think also is like, nothing comes before family. Yeah. Right? Nothing. It's true. And your unit is it. Yeah. And I think it's crazy. I think one thing he taught us too that you've probably never even thought about, right? What? And I didn't think about it till just this moment, that your job helps pay for things, but your family is way more important than your job. Yeah. And what it means is, even if you have to like stop something, you stop it. Yeah. Right? So like, I remember growing up, right, and our dad had the same job for 30-something years, right? AT&T. But the one thing, and he worked from 8 in the morning to 5, right? The one thing that's crazy that I still don't understand to this day, he never missed a basketball game of yours. Sure didn't. Never missed. He was always at all our stuff, a baseball game of mine. But the funny part is, all my games started at 3:30 or 4. So he would figure it out. And he would figure it out. Yeah. And he would come from San Ramon. And I'm like, how do you make it to the games? But that wasn't even a question, I thought. And if my dad wasn't there, I'd be like, where's my dad at? Yeah. When I got to bed, I'm like, if I don't see him there, something's wrong. Yeah. Right? And I'd be like nervous. And it's weird because I know for a fact his job was not okay with. Ain't no job gonna be okay with you leaving twice a week, 3 hours early. You know what I'm saying? But he figured it out how to get there. Yeah. And when I was a principal of a school. Yeah. Right. Me being a principal, I'm in charge of 700 something kids. Right. Yeah. And then the next year they're like, you coming back? And I was like, no. And they're like, what do you mean no? Like, you had a great year, you did really good as a principal. And I was like, my kids need more support. Yeah, it's the most important thing. Yeah, people didn't get it. But I realize now that, like, I learned that from dad, is like, if they're not taken care of, I can't take care of. If home's not taken care of, nothing else is. I can't. That's your foundation. You know, for real. And then even though it seems like now it's like, oh, you got to figure out money. To me, God has always made a way. So we'll always figure that out. It's the fact that, like, we got to make sure this family's right, and it starts with me. I love that. So that's really, like, you know, I think that's kind of like the biggest thing I've learned. Before I get into my last question, which I ask every guest, you are one of the reasons why I brought you on this is that you're always doing things for others as far as the kids and all this stuff. You have a you have a program going on right now. I want to talk about that, but also, first of all, before I talk about that, I want to talk about your book. Okay. I want to talk about the Man Book. I know you kind of are whatever with it right now, but like, I really want to talk about this book because when you came up with the idea of like writing, he wrote a book called the Man Book, and it's all about. Well, I'll let you tell it. Yeah. It's a wonderful book. I mean, a lot of copies sold. Like, I go places sometimes, and I'll be selling, you know, my books or whatever, and then they'll be like, "Oh, that's great. Last name is Gunter." I'm like, "Yeah, Gunter." You know Jareem? I'm like, "Yeah, that's my brother." And this happens a lot. Like, I go to book fairs and stuff like that to sell my books, and it's like, your book made such an impact on the youth that
it's actually one of those things that I'm very proud of you for. But it's also like one of those things that I love being that I could be associated with you for that. That's just amazing to me. So talk to me about the Man Book really quick.
Yeah, so it's a transformational guide to empower young men on a journey to manhood. It's really like how to give them the tools to be successful. It's really, and it's a super simple, easy read. It's like, how do I tie a tie? How do I shave? How do I talk to a woman? How do I be accountable for myself? How do I grow up without a dad? You know, little things like you know, what's more important than me? Like, it's so many little things. How to deal with credit and debt.
Yeah.
Like, there's little things, but the fact that I was like, I need a guide for these young men, because I was mentoring some boys and they were like struggling. One of the boys said his dad, he's 18, he was 18. He's like, my dad lives 2 blocks away from me. He was like, man, I haven't seen him in like 5-6 years. Right? But the funny thing is his brother lives with his dad. And he said, and they go to school together. And he said, every day my brother comes and say, hey, dad told me to tell you hi. And he's like, man, why would my dad just call me and tell me?
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, man, I'm 18 years old. I'm going to college next year. He's like, I don't know how to tie a tie. I don't know how to talk to a woman properly. Everything I do is based on the guys in the corner.
Yeah.
So he said, I know I'm not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
He was like, so I'm doing so many things negative. And I was like, man, as his mentor, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
So that's what
sparked the idea.
Book, right? And what happened is he brought it to his school, and his school was like, what is this?
Yeah.
They bought a whole bunch of copies, and then they took off from there, and then it started, you know, and I was able to travel the country and train people how to work with students of color and speak on Capitol Hill and all these different type of things. But it was all based off just like, how do I help these young boys to be better men? It's always sparked based on like our dad. And I was
about to say.
Like, it was funny because what I did was, when I wrote the book, when I first decided to write the book, and you remember this, I called all the men that I really respected, and I was like, "Hey, I need you to write this chapter. I need you to write this chapter.
I remember.
I need you to write this chapter. I need you to write this chapter." And I'm waiting for like 5 months, and nobody's sending me anything. And then my wife was like, "Why are you waiting for other men to do that? You know how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what you want to say."
That's an entrepreneur thing too.
Yeah, she was like, "Write it," and I was like,
"Just do it yourself."
I was like, "Oh shoot, I'll write it." So then what I did is I wrote it, but then I still had you. I had dad. I had a couple men that I still like. Actually, not a couple, but I had my family right in there, right? So you wrote about being honest, because I was like, the one thing about my brother is the thing that he always used to get in trouble about when he was younger. He never would lie. So he'd always tell the truth. And I'm like, man, I'm like, lie.
I take the whooping. I didn't care.
You saying yourself is lie. You know what I'm saying? So I always admired you on that. So I was like, hey, let me have my brother write that chapter.
Yeah.
And then even though I was a father, my son was 2. I was like, I can't tell somebody how to be a dad. I was like, hey, dad, I need you to write how to be a dad in this chapter. You know, so little stuff I did, and I was like, how can I put it all together? Yeah. And I was like, I know kids like to look at pictures. Yeah. So let's do pictures. Let's do 2 pages for each chapter, and do as many as we can, right? And that's what we did, and
that book is amazing. And it's also like, so that's another thing. The reason why I'm doing this podcast is I want to spotlight fathers of color, like minority fathers. And because we're not, if you look at the media, the way they look at us, the way they interpret us and like put us into the forefront is they don't highlight great fathers. They never, it's not something that you see. It's always broken homes and all this stuff. And I'm like, we need something that highlights fathers of color being there for their children. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. So with that being said, talk to me about what you got going on right now. This is really cool. Talk to me about like, again, it's sports, but I want to know what was the impetus of this and like what's going on right now and how we can help if we can.
Before I can even go there, I'm like, it's super funny that we're even having this conversation. And I think it's funny because I think about like your life growing up, and I'd be like, Josiah. I'm talking about my kids. I'm like, Josiah, you want kids? And you're like, nah, I'm good. I don't want no kids. And it's funny because how kids really will, like, right when they're born, it'll change everything about you. Yeah. It'll change how you see the world, what you want to accomplish in the world, everything. Yeah. Right? So, like, that's really what my focus was. And I was like, when I decided to, like, create this team, it's called the Dream Team. It didn't start because I want to create a dream team. It started because I was like, I want to create a youth center for a city that struggles, right? Yeah. And I was like, let me create this youth center for a city that struggles. And then I went to the mayor and they were like, nah, we don't want to. We're talking about
Antioch, by the way.
Yeah. They're like, we don't want to fund it. We don't want to do anything. And I was like, man, like, what can I do? And they're like, hey, well, you know what? We'll fund one program out of there. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, let me just pick this basketball team because my son loves basketball. I know I can put some stuff out there, and we'll, and it'll be fun. Yeah. So, but I said, you know what? The one thing about me is you're never gonna get just basketball. Yeah. Because I really don't really care about I mean, I care, but I don't really care about basketball. Yeah. I care about, like, how do I make these young men be better? Yeah. That's really my goal. So, every like
medicine in the candy.
Exactly. But then also every AAU program, around is about $5,000 for like 4 or 5 months. It's so expensive.
Yeah, that is
Back
crazy.
in the day for us, when we played, that would be like $200.
Yeah, but that was expensive too for us. Yeah,
it was. But I'm like, how can a parent pay for $5,000? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, how can I create this free program where all the kids are free, but we also make a manhood development program part of it? So yeah, started doing it, and we and the boys read their curriculum is the man book. Which
I love that. I love how you tied that together.
So that's their curriculum.
You guys do workshops too.
We do workshops. So we have practice Mondays and Wednesdays, and manhood development is on Fridays.
I love that.
So that was the first. So the first time we played in 7 tournaments. We won championship in 4 of them. So we did really well. Went to Vegas. Went to LA. We did good.
And these are kids who normally couldn't even afford to play this.
So yeah, we got one kid on our team that's I love to highlight all the time, is because this kid had never played basketball.
Oh wow!
Right, because his family didn't have the money to really play basketball. But he's huge, right? He's like a beast. And his first game he ever played with us, he had 25 points and 17 rebounds. First game he ever played in his life, right? Yeah.
What?
Exactly. And from then on, this kid is like, he's lost 50 pounds because just like working out with us. But he's dynamic now. But let me go back, because so the first season, the city of Antioch funded it.
Okay, that's
we
great.
We did so amazing. I was like, cool, they're gonna fund it again, and they turned us down and said they wouldn't fund it anymore. And I was like, why would you not fund something that's going so amazing?
Yeah.
So they didn't fund it. We were struggling. Now we're like, what are we gonna do next? And luckily, this guy in the community was like, hey, I'll just give you, Dream, I love what you're doing. I'm gonna give you $50,000. It's like, cool. Which it still wouldn't fund the whole program,
but it's a start.
And like that $50,000 is done. So
and that's an incentive to get other people to want to.
And just a random guy that just like decided he believed in what we were doing and just gave us money. A black man our age, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So gave me $50,000. We were able to do that, and then also, funding also is on like me too. So now we have 2 teams. We played. This season we played 22 games. Okay. We lost our first game this week, and we were 21-1.
Wow.
So we're doing amazing. We've taken the kids to ropes course. We've taken them hiking. We're going sailing.
I love that.
We do stuff, and we call them educational learning events. So when we go there, we're like, okay, cool. We went to the high ropes course. The whole goal was, how do you get over your fears?
Yeah.
Right. So
talk about that all the time.
How do you get up there, and then even when you're scared and you're at the top of a mountain and you don't know what to do, how do you push forward and still say, all right, I know I'm scared, but how do I push forward and keep going? So that's what it's about. It's like, in life, we get scared and we have fears, but we push forward. So we're trying to teach them those little things, and it is, it's going so amazing that it's more amazing than I could ever even dream of. Yeah. We have parents that are like, man, you're like our dad. When the kids get in trouble, I'm at their school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they get in trouble, their parents calling me.
Just like dad, a life of service, man. Yep. Life of service.
Same thing. I still remember a time when one of my friends, he lost his car, and then my dad, he was like, "Oh, okay, cool," and gave him his car.
I remember that.
And I was like, "Man, Dad, why would you give a car to somebody?" But it was because he cared so much for kids,
and
cared so much for people, and I think he's like pushed that on me, and that's like my life is like, how do I serve everyone else? How do I make this better for everyone else?
How do people donate and like?
So we're the Dream Team. So we're really a play off the '91 Dream Team, the '92 Dream Team, right? Yeah. And we have the same jerseys. We do all the stuff.
I love that.
It's funny because what happens is on the back of kids' jerseys are names that symbolize them. So they're like accountability, responsible.
What's Josiah's?
Determined.
Determined.
Because he's always gonna push through. So
he does.
They have different names. So that's like their names. You can just go to our website. It's thedreamteamantioch.org.
Got it. Love that. You guys, if you get a chance, if you want to support a worthy cause, please go check this out. This is wonderful. These guys are killing it. And I'm an ex-basketball player, so I really, really love this. Yep. And I love to see my nephew just kill it on the court. Yeah. The kid is an amazing player. Yeah. Last question. And I ask everybody this question.
Yep.
I am a new father, as you know.
Yes.
You have a new nephew.
Yes. Is
there any piece of advice that you could give me?
Yeah.
That would, help me out with my journey of fatherhood.
Yeah. There's a couple things. I was talking to my friend Byron, who just had a baby.
Salute to Byron. Yep. In high school, he was my best friend.
Yep.
This was my guy.
Yep. So he was asking. He was like, "Man, what do I need to know?" And I was like, "Man, there's so much you need to know." I said, "But probably the biggest thing is allow them to cry." Right? It feels like sometimes you want to go to a protector mode of like, I need to protect my child, but they're not going to grow until they can go through that process.
Okay.
Right. So I think the first thing is let them cry. The second thing is if you decide to pick them up when they cry, that means they're always gonna like think that you have to pick them up when they're in struggles in life.
They're not gonna learn how to work through it.
Yeah, and it even starts at a young age, right?
Yeah.
We were 3 months. Like when our child was 3 months, we took them. Hey, go sleep by yourself. They're 3 months old. Like we'll put them in the crib in the other room. They're crying, and we're like, they gotta cry it. They gotta cry it out.
Was that hard for her, or was that harder for you?
I think it was harder for her because it would take more work for her. She'd have to get up and feed them and go take them. So I would get up in the other room.
No, I mean harder for her to hear the crying.
No, but I think what I'm saying is it's easier to have a baby on you because you know they're comfortable.
Yeah.
And you know you're comfortable. You don't have to deal with anything. So it was hard for her to be like, now I'm like letting go of this child to make them be on their own.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be all right.
That is deep in us.
They'll be all right. They'll be all right. And they were all right, you know, and I think it also helped us still like be able to fall in love and still be bonding, you know what I'm saying? Because we still put each other first. It wasn't the kid now taking over that bed or anything like that.
I got you.
So I think that was part of it. I think another thing is to always like make sure the baby feels that dad loves them, right? Because a lot of times it's like for the first 5 months, it's usually like, all right, mom, we can't really do nothing.
Yeah.
Take that baby.
Yeah.
The baby still needs to feel your presence.
Yeah.
Right. So still needs to know that dad is there, dad is around. Because our goal is to make them say daddy first before they say mama.
Who you telling?
Hey, I'm telling.
And he did, and they don't believe me because he hasn't said it again. And the kid just laughs now. Every time I say daddy, he just looks at me. I'm like, why are you playing me?
My kid said daddy first too.
You playing me in front of the family.
That's the goal. And then you won.
Yeah,
you won.
I'll try, man.
So,
I'll try.
I think that's really it, and just like, and I think those are like the biggest things. I think that's the biggest one. I'm trying to think of what else I tell Byron. I can't remember right now, but I think the first thing is like, if the baby cries, it's okay.
Yeah,
you don't have to. Say
I love that. I love that. Well, I want to thank you, man. Yeah. I think my brother did this solid for me. He's a busy man, so for him to come out here and do this for me, I really appreciate it. Man, and thank you.
Whatever, I got you always.
Always. Love you. And cheers, man.
For sure.
Salute. Till next time, guys.
I didn't
cheers.
know how to do that. I was like, do I do this?
I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. And cut.
Can I put these glasses? Cool.
Yes, sir.
I can't see nothing. I'm trying to look at me. I can't even see him. I'm like, Jesus.